Good morning, everyone. Well, all month long, we've been talking about authenticity. And on the first Sunday of the month, we talked about having an authentic relationship with this transparent energy most of us call God. And I've been calling it a transparent energy in hopes of putting the focus on the more holistic, more energetic nature of that which we call God, and maybe shaking loose some of those entrenched ideas that we have about a more human-like, emotional God that many of us were taught when we were young. If you're like me, you heard these stories, these wonderful Bible stories, and then maybe one day, or maybe there were many one days throughout your life, it hit you. Maybe a question. Wait a minute. How would God be walking through the garden in the cool of the day if God doesn't have a body and doesn't have legs? You feel kind of funny asking that kind of question. Or how did God speak to Adam and Eve in the garden? How did God speak to all those Old Testament prophets and Moses and Noah and people like that? As my 7th grade science teacher used to say, asking questions is a good thing, because those questions compel you to dig deeper, to say, what's the message to this story? What's the essence that can help me to live in a more holistic, holy, divine, holy way, holy way, as the song says. Interesting thing about that Genesis creation story that we've been talking about this month, that same story is also found in the Quran, the sacred book of Islam. But in the Quran, Adam and Eve don't fall from sin, nor do their actions mean that humanity is in need of redemption from sin. So that last part is only found in the Genesis version of this story. So anyway, on the first Sunday of the month, we talked about having an authentic relationship with God, a pure, genuine, transparent, trustworthy relationship with God. Nothing hidden, nothing blocking the free flow of spirit energy between us and God the Creator. That right there is life-changing. That's world-changing, to have a tight relationship with life, to have a grounded, safe, secure relationship with God, a relationship that's honest, that's harmonious, synergetic, cooperative, that's a good word, and even collaborative, as we talked about last week. That's a big switch in thinking for many people. But really, what we're talking about, just basically, is living from your first nature. And what is your first nature? Spirit. Your first nature is spiritual. As it says in the New Testament book of John, Jesus was purported to have said, God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship in spirit and truth. If I may, spirit and authenticity. So we're talking about connecting with truth, pure truth. Us humans in human form connecting with spirit energy God, pure truth. It's amazing to think about, isn't it? Interesting about that scripture, that word that's translated worship, is the Greek word proskuneo. And proskuneo literally means pros, like pro, or toward. Okay? Proskuneo, toward, and kuneo means to kiss toward. Those who would kiss toward God must do so in spirit and in truth. That sounds like a pretty intimate relationship to me. And that kind of relationship, that tight with life kind of relationship, isn't found in a book. It's not found in or through a person. It's not found by attending church. It's only found in spirit and in truth. Only in the stillness, only in the quiet can we know God, yes? Be still and know that I am God, as the psalmist said. So then, last week, we talked about having an authentic relationship with ourselves. Nothing hidden, nothing blocking the free flow of spirit in and through and in our lives. Good morning. Come on in. Haven't seen you for a while. Our authentic selves. That means taking a look at areas of our lives that might not be reflecting our truest, highest self. Taking a look in the area of prosperity and letting go of false beliefs in lack or limitation or insufficiency. Taking a look in the area of health and vitality and letting go of false beliefs in dis-ease, discomfort, or weakness. Taking a look in the area of love and relationships and asking ourselves, do I truly, truly, truly love myself just the way I am? Every eensy beensy bit of myself? Do I really know and believe that I am perfect, whole, and complete? That I am made in the image and likeness of absolute goodness? Now, why is it important to have an authentic relationship with yourself? Well, there are many, many, many reasons. But I think the main reason, the number one reason, is because we are co-creators with God. As the third principle of unity says, we are co-creators with God. You get that? Co-creators with God. And last week we talked about the co-creator process and brought to mind maybe instances where we've participated in a co-creative process of putting together an event and everybody's on the same page with that, or building a house or a business or something. You all have the same vision, or like I shared with you, the co-writing process that we go through in songwriting, or even moving furniture. You have to be on the same page. One can't be pulling one way and the other person pulling a different way. To come into a co-creative process, you have to be on the same page. You have to be in alignment. That means that we need to be in alignment with divine intelligence. You see, divine intelligence only can hook up with that which is established in truth. You see, God knows nothing of lack of or limitation or insufficiency. God knows nothing of disease or discomfort or weakness. God knows nothing of shame or blame or guilt or fear or anxiety or insecurity. In order to come into a co-creative process, we have to have the consciousness of omnipresent substance and life. For example, God is pure abundance, yes? Anything other than a consciousness of pure abundance, that's not omnipresent substance, right? So we need to clear out anything that's unlike knowing and believing all needs met, richly supplied, sustained and supported by the one infinite source of the universe. We have to clear out old ideas that have kind of latched onto us from centuries. Ideas like can't bleed a turnip, or scraping bottom, or fixed income, or I'm broke. Nothing has ever been broken about you. No matter what circumstance you've ever been in, you're not broke. So what we're talking about is getting clear, becoming genuine and authentic with ourselves. And how do we do that? Well, Charles Fillmore said, know thyself. Know who and what you are, where you came from, what you are doing here, and where you are going. He said, if you want to know all this, meditate on the I am presence God. Basically what he's saying, if you want to know your true self, get to know your soul self. Not that ego self that we've created. We know enough about that. Not that personality self that keeps us distinct and independent from other people. That's just our exterior. That's our mask. It's only by going within on a regular, consistent basis, that we can get to know our true self, our soul self, who we are and what we are. So this week, you might want to, in your quiet time, just begin by asking a prayer, just saying a prayer and say, God, lead me to look at areas of my life, words I say, or roles that I play that might not be reflecting my highest self. And as you sit in the silence and those things come into your awareness, just be gentle and let them go. You might even want to say, I lovingly release that thought or that choice or that action or that belief that's not in alignment with my true self. And as you do this on a regular, consistent basis, as you practice authenticity with God and with yourself, you're going to trust life more. You're going to trust God more. And you're going to trust yourself more. And you'll feel a whole lot freer. But there's something even more powerful that's going to happen. Something even greater than that's going to happen. And I believe this is one of the reasons that some people speak against going within. That they themselves are unwilling to go within and meditate. To go within and know, be still and know that I am God. And that is because we're talking about taking off the mask. We're talking about dropping the role playing and setting aside this sense of a separate self and connecting with our essence, our God self. When you do that, the personality decreases and the true self increases. And you become so aware of who you really are that all sense of self dissolves into the allness of life. Then you begin to understand what Jesus meant when he said, inasmuch as you have done this for the least of these people, you've done it for me, because we are all one. You begin to understand what Jesus meant when he said, love your enemies, do good to those that hate you. Because anything other than the unconditional flow of unconditional love going out from us constricts the flow of life, constricts our co-creative process, our ability to create our lives and to create the world. You begin to understand what Jesus meant when he said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. They thought that they were harming him. They were really harming themselves. So the golden rule is actually an affirmation of authenticity. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It's actually an affirmation of oneness. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you, because there is no other. There is no separate self. There is only one of us. And as we awaken to our loving spiritual self, we let go of those fears. We let go of the defenses that keep us separate from others. And we connect in a deep sense of love and compassion and empathy and harmony and appreciation. So our perspective shifts from me to we. And in this expanded awareness, that's when the co-creative process kicks in. That's when the miracles occur. You see, when you live in truth, this clear, genuine, authentic, pure, transparent truth about life, then you begin to vibrate at a higher, clearer, purer level. And your authenticity helps others to see that they are loved, whole, supported, divine. Your authenticity creates a safe space, a safe, secure space for others to venture into their journey of transformation. So when we begin to live in truth, we come into true community. We've been developing a true community here with like-minded, open-hearted people. But really what's going on is not only connecting with others in shared activities and beliefs. We're taking off the masks. We're dropping the facade. And we're allowing ourselves to remember our innate oneness. We're allowing our hearts to overflow with unconditional love for all people. And we're allowing ourselves to feel safe and feel supported. Not just by one another, but by the one power and presence. So really the greatest gift you have to offer life is the gift of your authentic self. Are you ready to do that this morning? May it be so, and so it is. Okay, let's go into a time of contemplation here. Think on these things. You might want to speak just a simple prayer. Say, God, lead me to look at areas in my life that might not be in alignment with the truth of my being. The words I say, the roles I play, and if anything comes up for you, just gently let it go. You might want to affirm, I lovingly release. Whatever it is that's not in alignment with your true nature. So just take a deep breath. Are you ready to trust life? Are you ready to trust yourself? Say yes. And when you're ready, you can come back to the room. Open your eyes. Okay.